welcome to another Careful Carping episode 38 today. I'm back down Kingswood Water Park, Pine Pool. It's a very chilly morning, to be honest with you. It's the 10th of October and it's been a week since I last did my last vlog, which was last week down Barson, and the temperatures are starting to drop quite dramatically. This morning was really chilly. Didn't have a frost, but it can't be too far away till we get frost. It's blowing quite a chilly wind through, and the water temperature's down quite a bit as well. It just feels chilly, so definitely winter is on its way. And I think next session will be the woolly hat and thermal job. It is getting really cold, so I'm pretty wrapped up today. I'm warm, got my coffee, so keeping hot. Hopefully a fish will come along and get the adrenaline pumping. It's probably been about a month and a half now since I've had a fish out of here. I last fished here 2 weeks ago, as I mentioned in my last vlog. I had a fish all over me in front of me, and it took a good 3 hours before one finally picked up a hook bait. They seemed to be really finicky, and the left hand rod whipped off. I hit into it and the fish was up on the surface splashing about for a bit, but it kept going and going, and there's a big weed bed behind it, so I was trying to stop it getting in there, and ultimately the hook pulled. I don't know whether they put too much pressure on it or it was just one of the things where the hook popped out, but yeah, I didn't manage to land that fish, so that was gutting. And yeah, the session before that I blanked, and then the session before that I did manage one, which was probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. I'd like to have one now, because as the winter's coming, the fish are going to be on a big feed. I've come for a walk around yesterday, as I normally do, to see if I could find any fish, and I was torn between 4 swims. In the end, I've seen 4 swims in a row with 2 or 3 fish in each, so I couldn't significantly find a big group of fish. If I found a big group of them, I would have headed straight for them, but because I kept seeing 3s and 4s, I was thinking, what do I do? So I've ultimately chosen this swim to start with. I'll keep an eye on the other swims where I've seen fish to see if there's any in there. I'm fishing more of like a channel swim, where the fish just seem to come through, so this is pretty much a bait and wait jobby today, and put the bait there, and hopefully they're going to pass through, find the bait, put the noses down on it, and ultimately pick up the hook bait. So that's what I'm hoping for today. I'll show you the swim in a bit. I haven't actually done a proper session in here before. I've done about an hour in here on the surface when I've seen a few fish, but didn't catch anything. But yeah, I've seen a few fish come out of here, and I know it definitely does produce, so I'm hoping I can produce this today. I mean, there's right in the margin, yes, I'm going to come down through. I'm sat in a little clear spot, so I've got the one rod on there, and there's a massive island out in front of me where I've seen fish patrol over the last couple of months, and I've seen one there this morning. So the other rod's tied up against that, and hopefully we'll have one. Coots were a bit of a pain this morning diving, but they haven't had that much bait, and they haven't picked up the hook bait, so pretty hopeful. And I've changed my rig around just a little bit. I changed the silicone tubing for a rig ring, like I messed about at Barson last week, and I seem to be really nailing them fish with the rig ring instead of the silicone tubing. So I managed to catch one today. I'll take you through the rig in a bit. So it's time now. It's coming to 8:30. Rod's been out about 45 minutes. Gate time's boat changed again, so Bailey got here at 7:15 this morning, so by the time I set up and whatnot, the rods went out about 7:45. So yeah, it's a bit crap on opening time because the sun was already pretty much up by then. So probably missed the morning feed, so I'm going to see if I can nick one. So anyway, waffling on quite a bit now, so see if a fish comes along and I'll update you in a bit, preferably with the fish. Look at that for a lump of gold. £19.6, it's a recapture. It's the no anal fin carp I had before. Give her an absolute crap fight, like she did last time, and I got her straight in the net. Seen the funny shape of her, seen how fat she was, no anal fin, and a funny mouth. She got £19.6 this time. I had her at £17 something last, so even bigger. Thought she was going to go 20 because she's massive, but absolutely ecstatic with that. And yeah, so she's been really lively on the bank. Just going to get her back. Well then, I've just returned that carp, and to say I made up as an understatement. Just been sat there right next to the rods watching the island, and there's all these swirls going around right just off the spot, and the right hand bobbin just pulled up to the top and stopped, and I sat there thinking, do I hit it or do I not, but not preparing to miss any fish. I hit into it, and instantly I felt a juddering sound, well, juddering feel rather, and it didn't really move or nothing, so it's just an easy haul in. Come to the surface straight away. To be honest with you, I thought I had a tench, it fought that badly. And as it come close and it rolled, and I thought that's quite a decent sized common. Don't know why it's not fighting much, and it went over the cord. I thought, oh, it's got a small tail. Looked in the net and it had a dodgy face. I thought that looks really familiar. Looked across its back and it was a big wide thing. Could have put a saddle on it. I thought that looks like it could go 20, and I'm really after a 20 common out of here now. And I thought if I just got my first £20 common, lift her up onto the mat, and there was no anal fin, so straight away I knew it was the one I had from May. She was £17 something back then, but she looked much bigger this time. And I got her on the scales, and the scales went to £20.4, sorry. So it's 14 ounces for the net, making her weigh £19.6. so just short of £20 again. So, but I'm ecstatic just to have her again, looking good. So that's twice I've had her now in something like 6 months. If you do the maths, I'm not sure, 5 or 6 months. And yeah, so chuffed to have had one out this morning. It was the rod I wasn't expecting to go, or was least expecting, as I seen the fish in the margins yesterday. It was the island rod that went, so I'm happy with that. It's taken me another 7 casts to get back on the spot. As you do, it's a tight to the island. I found on here, if you get right up against the snags, you're better off with catching. If you miss by a foot or so, you're pretty much going to struggle. So yeah, ecstatic to have that lovely bar of gold. That takes me up to 14 fish now for the season on here, and that was the first time I've caught on that rig since I only tied it up last night with the rig ring. So happy to see that's all working. Obviously caught on my usual bait though, the 15mm PP60s, tipped with an emburic acid and pineapple pop-up with a size 6 hook. So proper nailed, and happy to have it. So yeah, so what time is it now? It's coming up to 9 o'clock, so we've got another few hours left. I've got to leave here at 1:30, so it's that 4.5 hours. Still swirling over there, so hopefully we can get another fish. Just put the rig back out, as I said, put another handful of boilies over the top, right on top of it, nice and tight. So there's no reason why I can't get another fish out of here. So just see how the morning progresses. If I finish with just the one, I'll be happy. It's a cold morning, so I wasn't really expecting to catch that much, but as I say, the fish are on the feed, so they need to get some grubbing and ready for winter. And there we go. So again, I'm waffling on, going to stop now, make another drink, and see what the morning happens. See you in a bit. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look like there's going to be much more action. It's looking very slow. As far as I'm aware, I'm the only angler on the lake to have caught. There's a couple of blokes here for the pike, and they haven't had a pike out of here yet neither. I've only seen one carp come through the swim since having that other fish. I've seen a few swells off the island, which could possibly be carp, so I'm hopeful that rod could go. If either of the rods are going to go, it will be the island rod again, I guess. But I still don't really fancy my chances with that going again. It's definitely not as active as it was. It seems to be after I've had that fish off there again, and all the fish have seemed to have moved off already. Same as last time when I had that fish, there's all fish all over me, and when I lost it, then they all moved off and went elsewhere in the lake. The spot that I was actually expecting to go off today is the margin spot, and a fish hasn't even paid any attention to it at all. I seen it there yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I expected to repay the same visit again this morning at 10 o'clock, expecting that was a path that come through, but I seem to have got that wrong, and they haven't come through. They might come through later in the day, they might come through again tomorrow, who knows, but so far they haven't come through. So it's just sitting there in the margin, hoping that a fish comes across it and has it. So yeah, I'm still happy to have the one fish, as I say, I'm the only angler on the lake to have caught at the minute. So hopefully we can get another one, and we'll have to see what happens. There's a swim behind me, and I can see 2 carp in there. One looks at about 20, the other one looks about £15, so 2 nice fish on the top. I thought last night I'm not going to bother bringing floater gear. I got in last night and it was freezing, so I just thought the fish ain't going to be up on the surface now. It's definitely far too cold for that, and it is absolutely freezing today. I've got to say, it is cold, it's windy, very little sun, but yet there's 2 carp out on the top up there. So if I had my floater gear, I might have a chance. I'm not saying if I had my floater gear I'd obviously catch them. That's another part of the jigsaw puzzle, trying to catch them and get them feeding and whatnot, but they're there and I can physically see them, and it's gutting me knowing that I can't even have a chance of catching them. I have put bait down in the margin to see if they'll drift in and have a go for it, but they haven't even bothered coming in for that yet. They're just sitting there nice on the top. There has been a couple of fish come out in front of me, just swimming up and down the channel, but they're directly in the middle of the lake. They're missing the margin, they're missing the far margin where the island is already, so a bit gutted. But as I say, I've had one. How disappointed can you be when you've only come down here to catch one? So not bothered in the slightest. As soon as I catch one fish out of here in a session, that's it. I'm happy. I don't feel no pressure to catch one, and I can just relax. And if I can catch any more, it's just a bonus. So yeah, let's say it's 11:45 now, and we'll have to see what happens. I've got about an hour 45 until I've definitely got to move. So I'll either see you again with an outro piece, or preferably with another fish, but we'll have to see how the rest of this session progresses. So I'll see you in a bit. Rather than due to requests, I've been asked to go through my rig again, just so people can see what I've been catching on. So we'll start off here with the main line, just a simple mono. £15. It's the Garner Hydro Tough stuff. It's very tough, brilliant knot strength, and sinks like a brick. So we start off with that, and then we go on to a Nash Klingon leader. It's brilliant stuff. I think it's in £40, and also sinks like a brick and helps me keep all the rigs down to the bed, and goes across the contours of the bed and the weed. So I've got a nice length of that. I like to fish quite long length, so that's about 2 to 3 feet. When we come down to the main stuff, we've got obviously a leg clip system. It's the average flat clip system, and then we've got obviously a tail rubber going to the top. Either side of that, we're going to go down to about 6 or 7 inches of what's it called, fluorocarbon. That's the Quad IQ2 stuff. And a blob of putty, and then about an inch of braid. So the putty's over the Albright knot, and obviously onto the hook. Size 6 Gardner mugger. It's been caught a lot of fish on this year, and I like a big hook, so it's gone well nice. As you can see, I've got a rig ring on there. I was playing around with these, as I say, at Barson last week, and seemed to nail every fish. And this is the rig I caught on this morning, which absolutely nailed that fish also. So yeah, obviously the rig ring, and then down to the main business part is the bait. 15mm PP 60, topped with a 12mm pineapple and buric acid. Just obviously blowback style on there, and it seems to have ridden all damage. It's what I've caught on most of my fish on this year out of here, except for the ones on the surface. So it's gone really, really well. So that's the rig that I've basically been catching all my fish on as well this year. Just obviously adding bits and bobs to it by changing the silicone tubing, etc. And it's a great old little snowman setup, and it's caught me plenty of fish, and I can guarantee to cast it anywhere. Also, I've only got a 1 ounce lead on. I like to use as little weight of lead as I can possibly get away with, and you really haven't got to chuck any distances in here, so a flat pair is perfect. And I can chuck it into deep weed, and it's just going to sit nice on the top and present well. And I've even caught fish out of the weed by using this little setup. And yeah, I can be confident you're going to get good presentation every time. I do put PVA nuggets on the end of there, especially just to keep the point away from all the weed so it doesn't get massed. And you're good to go. So that's the rig that's been doing the business for me this year, and as I say, it's been requested, so there it is, gone through it again, and I hope it helps. Well then, unfortunately I'm coming to the end of my session now. I've just had to get the rods in, barrows behind the camera all completely loaded, and just going to go to the car now, load it up and get off to work. Had a lovely little morning session, just the one in the end, but not a problem. As I say, if I can catch one out of here in a session, then I'm always happy. That's always my target, just the one. Anything after that is a bonus, but it's just a pleasure to be on the bank. As I haven't been down here for 2 weeks, so as we missed, now I'm not having a fish out of here now for about a month and a half, so good to actually get one back on the bank again. Although it's a recapture, so glad to have her, although again just missing the £20 mark, just giving a little tease. So obviously keep coming back down here, and I'm sure eventually one of the 20 plus commons will crop up and I'll have them in the net. So yeah, good session. I should be down here again in 2 weeks time. That'll probably be the next time I'm on the bank anyway, so 2 weeks time, that'll put us to towards the middle up to the end of October, and hopefully we'll have another one like that session. Obviously don't know where we're fishing. I'll obviously have a few more walk rounds between now and then and see where the fish are, and we'll have that session, another morning session, to see if we can have a fish. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed the fish and the rig and whatnot. So if you enjoyed it, please click the like button below, leave a comment, and if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel for future more updates and any more videos. So yeah, until next time, take care and tight lines. Well, look at that for a cracking ghost carp. I think this one's obviously known as yellowtail. Seen a picture of a guy on Facebook about 18 months ago and thought I'd really love to catch that one, and I've just had a screamer on the left hand rod. It's the white bit of sweet corn on that rod.